Hey everyone, Keenan Gray here from DyeStat.com, bringing you another edition of DyeStat Discussions. U.S. Indoors, the first championship of 2025 is this weekend at Staten Island in New York at Ocean Breeze. And one of the athletes that's looking to punch their ticket to China for another World Indoor Championships is this lady right here, Chase Jackson. The shot put phenom now holds sole possession of both indoor and outdoor American records in the shot put. Chase, really appreciate your time hopping on here. Um, Give me a sense, finally now you are the queen of the shot put in the United States of America after, besting both yours and Michelle Carter's indoor personal best.
Yeah, I I remember on Michelle's like last nationals and when I was in 2022 when I was kind of coming up and she was talking to me and she was like, "You could let me keep my records a little longer." And I was like, "No, I don't know about that." But yeah, it was really cool. We obviously shared the indoor record before. And I just got it in Poland. I think it's like by 3 centimeters, but I still kind of happy to just have my name. Like she's the shot diva, but I was like, it's my turn, you know. But yeah, I remember I went to the people and I was like, it's only 3 centimeters, but you got drug test me now. I just got a national record. Like I was like, this is what will make me only have it. So I need you to I need this to start happening.
So if she's the shot put diva, what are you?
I don't know. The shot put just trying to make it out here.
I think you can work on that title a little bit more.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Poland and just the opportunity to go over there. And it sounds like you've been in Europe for almost a month now. I know you're back in New York now for USA's this weekend, but great competition. You got Sarah Mitten in the mix. I'm sure there's a handful of other athletes that I'm just missing off the top of my head. But talk about the opportunity just to go to Poland and just compete in a really good field.
Yeah, it just made a lot of sense to like go and stay over there. So I was doing all the indoor gold tours because we have the tour this year. And at all the meets, it's for the top three in the world right now, it's me, Sarah, and Jess Schilder. So we obviously were at all these meets together, and it's kind of been reversing back and forth, between the three of us. It's been pretty cool. Sarah is like one of my biggest competitors, like, and has been since 2022. So like it is nice, like, to this early in the season, number one, see my event doing so well, but number two, be able to like kind of face the people that you're going to see all year, and see how you're faring against them. And I felt really good in Poland because my I've been a kind of a first throw kind of gal for a while now. So um to have like a American record on my first throw was nice. I feel like I could have thrown further, but the minute I saw the number, I kind of was like, "Oh my gosh, I've been fighting for that thing since 2022." So I think I got a little too excited.
Some degree, you're kind of like, all right, I threw it. See you guys. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go to New York now.
Totally. It was very like, I'm literally leaving for nationals after this. I threw that throw, and it was one of those things too where it didn't feel like the best throw I've ever done either. So like I threw it and was kind of like, oh, I kind of dang it, I missed it a little. And then I watched it land and I was like, ooh. So then you get a little excited where you're like, that I didn't even really hit. Like, I got more in there. And then it just like turned into this thing where I was like, I think I checked out the minute the number came up on the board. I was like, I'm good. I might as well just leave.
Funny would have been though if it was 2025 that was the actual
Yeah,
mark, and you said it
right.
in
Yeah.
2025.
It was Paris haunting me again.
Yes. Um, but you've already. I mean, this is your fourth competition of the year. It's your best so far this season. Talk about you starting in back in January and kind of getting the ball rolling, and especially coming off such an emotional year from Paris. And um, I I can only imagine what that was like, and just trying to bounce back from something that you wish you had something back.
Yeah, I think last year too, my I one of the things I hate about majors as well is it doesn't end at them a lot of the times, which is cool about Tokyo this year is that it ends on the major. So obviously there was still diamond leagues and stuff to go. So last year I kind of went to the diamond league after the Olympics, and kind of had my little retribution moment where I kind of was like, yeah, I'm still her, you know? And that was nice. But this season, it's kind of tricky because I took a lot of time off because I needed to take a break after everything that had happened, you know, and kind of settle into coming back to the US. So it was a little confusing thinking about how I was going to go about this indoor season, if I was even going to do it really. But I kind of was like, you know what, like let's do it. I don't think I didn't come into this season in the best shape. It was more so like I'm gonna build throughout these meets. And I really did that, you know, like I think I opened at 1920, then it was like 1940, then it was 20, then it was 2020. So I'm like, I feel like I'm making a good, like nice easy progression going up because obviously I have to keep this going till September. So I have to take into account the fact that like you start in January, you got to go till September. You want to like balance everything. So I'm just trying to do that while staying, you know, positive and still throwing far enough to make the teams and and make the meets.
Yeah. Do you kind of feel like then it's kind of like going back to your college days where it's such a long season that you're like, all right, let's take it easy kind of here, during the fall, going in indoor to outdoor. I mean, this is kind of your fall right now with regards to kind of starting your season.
Yeah, it's very that like um the only difference is I can say no now. But yeah, you know, and also getting older, like I've learned a lot more as you know, I've gotten older as an athlete. Like there's times I just got to listen to my body, you know. If she's saying no, then like I got to like maybe chill or it's like balancing training as well is so much different. I used to be able to just like go and then like go to a comp and like still be up there, but now if I go too hard in the week leading into it, like I'm dead. So it's like a learning experience, like relearning your body like now. So I'm just trying to figure out how I can get this 30-year-old body to September and bring home another gold medal for world.
You saying not having enough energy just does not seem like it's in the same sentence whatsoever. Because you're all
Yeah.
you're always energized.
I know, yeah. I think I'm chill vibes until I have to work out and then I die.
Yeah.
So like
So yeah,
you
so yeah,
wouldn't
no,
know.
early on in the season, as you kind of said, you're kind of taking this slow progression. So like what does that look like for you?
Yeah, you know, I actually took like 2 months off, which sounds like a lot. I know most athletes are like, I took 2 weeks, and I'm like, that's cute. Like I literally didn't train all of October and basically all of November. No, all of November. I kind of barely started again in December. Um, and it was really just like listening to my body, listening to my knees were kind of like a little sore. My and I've been dealing like with my shoulder, so I'm like, it. I don't know. It's just it's you kind of learn as you go, but like I I I just really try and like
Mm.
I listen a lot more. When I was younger, it'd be like, oh, like my shoulder hurts, you know, like do a couple of these and get going. But now I'm like, ooh, you know, I don't want an injury. So it's very much like, oh, stretch, you know, maybe don't do this lift today, do something else. So like it's just adapting as I go right now and I'm actually feeling a lot better in competitions, I think, because of it as well.
Again, you're talking about, you're getting older, you have to do like such the little things, like you said, like you have to stretch, you have to, get that sleep. And I'm almost 26 years old, and I don't even want to know what that life is like here in 4 years from now. But I
Yeah.
mean, you're taking the right approach, I think, especially, I think of someone like, Ryan and Joe who are getting, close to their mid 30s now. And it's probably the same approach where you're like, okay, I have to be very careful, especially with how aggressive, the shot put competition is.
Yeah, like the the thing is too, like it with our sport, like we have such longevity comparatively like to a lot of events. So like but that's only if you like take care of yourself. So like I think the big part of our sport is like I always say like the reason a lot of us peak in our 30s is because you get like old man strength. Like that's a real thing like we all get. And so as long as you like balance your body right, you're fine. And that's really all it is listening to it. So that's pretty much what I try and do now, but I've definitely like toned it down. Like I know like if I was talking in thrower speak, like all the Olympic lifting and all that that's in the gym, like a lot more of mine is more light and fast now rather than really putting up like any kind of big numbers. I haven't put big numbers up in over a year. It's just focusing on like like movements that are like applicable now to my sport. So like any kind of lift. And so like I feel bad for the boys because really they have to keep that strength element. Whereas I
Mhm.
feel like I kind of like I'm strong enough for a 4 kilo ball, so I just got to keep moving. For the boys, I feel bad because I'm like, ugh, you probably still have to like, you guys have to lift weights sometimes. And I'm like, oh, sorry.
Well, and your shot put weight doesn't change at all. It stays the same from college.
Yeah, that's the perk of not getting boatloads of testosterone through like 6 puberties like a guy. But it is nice to like not have to like going from high school to college, like it is nice to not have to like deal with that. I can't imagine dealing with a
Mhm.
weight change, but I think another thing is like rotationally obviously we're pretty far behind. They've been rotating a lot longer. So I think girls were just kind of starting to come into like learning how to rotate for a woman rather than being coached like a guy all the time. So that's pretty nice as well.
So what did those 2 months kind of look like for you as downtime?
What am I what?
Well, like, what do those 2 months like look like? Like, what'd you do during those 2 months where you
Yeah,
just didn't do anything?
I wasn't very good at being down, that's for sure. I bought a house with my husband in Illinois, and so I renovated that a lot, played a lot of video games. I try and do nothing, but I'm not very good at it. Like there's a week where like cuz my husband does my strength training stuff, so like he'll be like rest and I'm like, yeah, totally rest. And then I'll be like that could use a lick of paint. And then he's like, just leave it, like do it later. And I'm like, no, I'll just do it real quick, like,
Mhm.
and he's like, I said just sit down. I'm like, sorry. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think I did okay resting, just not the best.
Well, I mean, just kind of scrolling through Instagram, it looks like you went back home to Stillwater to go to a football game, and I'm sure they honored you at halftime. And it looks
Yeah.
like you ended up in Vegas helping out with UNLV with some sort of clinic. Just what I mean, what fun activities? Like, let's talk about going back to Oklahoma State and being honored, by the Pokes, and just that had to have been a really special moment, regardless of what happened in Paris.
Yeah, so um I love the support I've gotten from OSU. They've been great. I've done two field like appearances now. One after my first title, and this is like my next one, I think, after becoming an Olympian and after my second title. And it's been great. Like I go down and I feel so much support and spirit from them. But yeah, I love going to Stillwater. I miss it. I love the football games. So yeah, I just love seeing my alma mater. It's great. But I got a message from Carmelita, and that's why I ended up at UNLV because she was like, "Hey, like," and I was like, "Oh yeah, like I'm gonna be in the States around that time. I'm going to my
Mhm.
school," and she was like, "Can you come talk to my throwers?" And I was like, "Sure," because I love that. Like that's totally off time to me. If you have me like any kind of like talking to throwers, doing a clinic, anything like that, I love it. So like I jump at the chance. That's perfect for me in my off time to go and talk to kids and stuff. And I loved it. And the kids were great. And yeah, I had a good time like popping around the US for a little bit while I was house hunting and doing all that.
What was that opportunity like to go to Vegas and just being around collegiate athletes again?
Yeah, it's cool. Like I love the vibes of like college track. Like I love going to the tracks. They're always lovely. And I don't know. I like it makes you feel like better too, where like you think you're making a difference rather than just like throwing a ball around. You go like, oh, like people actually, like I actually have an impact on certain people. And I think it helps to like open your eyes to like what you could do to like help these people, like help these like athletes, like progress in their sport or just feel good because like you took time out of your day to even care about what they were doing.
Is that something you see yourself when you retire going into? It's like I want to start coaching.
Yeah, I think so. Like I've definitely been dabbling with the idea of it because every time I've done it, I talk to my husband and I'm like, I just love it. Like I love, like the good thing is like a lot of throws coaches, I think too, a lot of them like tend to be like pretty chill. So like when I go somewhere, they'll be like if the athlete's like, "What do you think?" And I'll tell them what I think and stuff, and they're usually like the throws coach isn't like, whoa, like get off my toes, like that never happens. So that's always nice, like to go somewhere and feel like you're making a difference. But like when I do that and they ask me stuff and I'm looking at someone's throw and I'm like, ooh, like this is what I would do. Like I just love it. Like I'm actually like, oh, I kind of like this. And Mitch was like, wait a little bit, like you're so close. Like, and then maybe we can do that. So yeah, it's definitely something I'm thinking about doing for sure.
Yeah, Ryan's definitely taken on, kind of an opportunity to coach one of the top Jamaican throwers in the world, and oddly
Who?
enough, he had, or you know exactly who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I mean, is there an opportunity for you to maybe, I don't know, do some volunteer coaching while you're in Illinois, since you have that connection with Deanna and her husband?
Um, yeah, like I think mainly like JC's a when I was there, I was asking JC what he thought about my throw more so. But probably not there, but I will like to like be around that again, like maybe train there a little bit more and be around the kids because the again it was training I trained there before I went to Europe for indoors. I was at the University of Illinois because of the weather. And again, they're just so great. Like I like just watching I love watching track and field. I really do. Like in any capacity, practice, meets, I just love it. So, yeah, I think I'm going to enjoy being around that school for sure.
One of the other things I was looking at again at Instagram and got a laugh out of is the relationship that you have with Maggie Ewan is hilarious.
Yeah.
That you two, I mean, it dates back to probably when you guys were throwing against each other in your college days. But I mean, just this Instagram video, if anybody gets a chance to watch it, they're helping each other out doing every single thing. Like you can think of like throwing, I'm sure you can explain a little bit more, Chase, but
Yeah.
just tell me about this relationship you have with Maggie and just, how truly special it is. And, at the end of the day, you are competitors, but you're also, it seems like you're best friends too.
Yeah, I met her actually we were on a junior team, but I didn't really know her. And then
Mhm.
we never really crossed paths in college, which was sad, but I moved to Arizona in 2019. Um, and started getting coached by Ryan Whiting, and he knew her through ASU. And so I kind of we ended up with the same agent, started traveling together. Then you become roommates. And now, yeah, she's my best friend. We spend like a lot of time together. I'm actually like, she needs to land because I'm ready to see her, like, yeah. So it's been great. Like you said, we're competitors. Like she's thrown probably what the third farthest throw in US history, I think, or third, I think. But she's like having someone who understands what you're going through, all that stuff is great. And and having someone to like be there. Like when I travel, like I'm not in China alone, I have my best friend with me. So like however it goes, as long as like we're both there and happy and doing what we love, I don't really care about the competitor side of it. But yeah, my best friend is one of my biggest competitors. It's kind of weird.
I'm sure she would have loved to have been by your side when you were in Paris, and maybe that could have like helped you out, calm your nerves a little bit more so. But I mean, let's talk about Paris. I mean, the opportunity for you, Raven, and Jada. I mean, geez, when I saw that lineup, I was like, whoa, that is a lot of talent right there. But things don't go as well as they've been. I mean, talk about the prelims and just how. I mean, I know you fouled in your first two throws, and it's like, all right, let's just see if we can get something on this third throw. And it ultimately was not enough to get to the final.
Yeah, I think the problem with Paris too is people were like, "Oh, like how do you feel?" Like I always say I choked, but it wasn't necessarily that I like choked really. It was I think I had focused so much on the getting there that I kind of like lost sight of the being there thing. So I mean, it wasn't like I was training at 20 mid all week. I outside of the stadium warming up, I was throwing over 20. So like clearly I was ready. I think I just like maybe didn't mentally really prepare myself for like actual competition day. But I think really I always say like everything happens for a reason, that like I think I don't know, I took a lot from it that I'm actually like happy. I wouldn't say like I'm happy that it happened, but like I think I've taken so much out of it that is going to help me more going into these like next 4 years of my career that like I I can't be mad. I always say the same thing, and I still stand by it, is like my goldfish rule. Like when something terrible happens or when something really great happens, you just gotta like psh, it goes away and then you just move on. Like even when you win, you gotta be like, "Ooh, I won," but like you gotta keep going. Like things have to keep going. It's the same with bad, and even though that was like obviously the worst possible thing that could happen to me because of how I'd been throwing and whatnot, like I gotta move on or else it'll just bury me. So I actually got a lot out of that too, as well as far as just like support and stuff. I think really like the people who follow me and like everything, I never felt closer than in that moment of crying on Instagram and being able to feel the support from like the people who see you. You feel like you failed people, you feel like I'm supposed to do this one thing and I didn't do it. And then when people tell you like that's not why we don't follow you because you win, like it kind of like I don't know, my mindset shifted a lot more, and I feel like I was able to just like I said, go to that next meet and just like throw a ridiculous distance and kind of like move on from it. And yeah, like now I just don't even really sometimes I think back to it and I go, "Ugh, that hurts," but I'm just kind of like, "Damn, that happened." Now it's just kind of over.
Yeah. I'm taking notes down. Ted Lasso fan, because that's the only thing I can think of from the
Yeah.
goldfish reference right
Yeah.
there. So in some, you've been there, you've experienced it, you know what it's like now, just in the lowest of the lows. Like what's, some sort of advice you would give to somebody that, is going to go to their first Olympics? It's like treat it just like a normal meet, or just make sure you're mentally prepared, physically prepared, because there's so much that's involved with competing in competition.
My advice would probably be mentally prepared because you will be like I was fully physically prepared. But I think like I said, it'd be don't just focus so much on the getting there, like because I think then you lose sight of like when you actually get there. So when I made the team, I think it was just kind of like, yep, made it kind of thing, rather than being like, okay, now I got to focus on this is about to be the hardest thing you do in your life. Because no matter what, those are the same girls I've thrown against for since 2019. They're the same girls I've seen. They're the same girls I've beaten at multiple majors. They're the same girls that are there. There was no reason for me to like be fearful. But then when you walk out there and there's Olympic rings and there's that many people yelling and you have your country, everyone's watching now because it's the Olympics. I think being ready for that is a mental game, not a physical one at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've thrown at Hayward, you've thrown at a lot of these big meets before. Have you ever been in an environment that was Paris? Because every athlete that I've talked to that competed at Paris says it was like the dream place to be for a track and field athlete.
Yeah, the God, it was mad. Like I've been in huge crowds, especially in Europe, like people come out to watch some of these meets. And so like God, it was different though. It was like you walked out and just everyone like the crowd was insane and the sound and it was just mad. Like it was completely different. Completely different feeling than I've ever felt and I lost it.
Yeah. Well, no, and that you know what? You lose some things and you find a way to eventually bounce back for them. But I mean, as you said, you might be grateful for this moment where it happened, and it could carry you to even greater heights. I mean, you've already accomplished I mean, other than, trying to get an Olympic gold medal, you've accomplished a lot during your career.
Yeah.
So I guess, I mean, and you talk about some of these injury things, like, why wouldn't you, I don't know, retire, call it quits. Let's be done with it now.
Yeah. I always just say like I've never had anything major, no like major injuries. I have to knock on wood. Um, and so I always just say like until my body's like done, like then I'll be done. But yeah, it made me think of like Doha in 2019. I was also a favorite to win there, and it was my first major, so that hit me. And so it was my first Olympics. So the only thing I took from it as like what happened to me in my first Worlds is I choked and messed it up, and then I've been to two more and didn't choke there. So all I'm saying is now I'm just like, okay, come LA, just not gonna do that again. Like that's pretty much how I see it. Is I'm like same with Worlds. I went to my first one and bloop, and then Went to my first Olympics and blooped it, so now I can't do it on my next one, can I?
Hmm.
Just
Yeah,
gotta
well,
learn.
especially to your point, I mean, like it's 3 years from now. I mean, LA's right around the corner. I mean, I'm sure that's the extra motivation just to keep on going.
Yeah, home games, man. That's lit. I'm ready. It's like not that far. Like for anyone else, you'd be like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm old." But like for a thrower, I'm like, "I'm just in my prime, you know? Like, I'm just touching my prime years. I'm ready."
Yeah, and especially that, you as you said, you're getting your 30s now. You've already broken an American record again in indoors, and I feel like 2025 is just kind of setting you up for an even bigger year. I mean, do you think that's the opportunity, especially what you take away from Paris and what opportunities lie ahead in 2025?
Yeah, like I've this has been the best start like I've really ever had. So I really can't see anything but positives going into this season now because obviously like you know how every season goes, and like I said, I've looked and I'm like, "Oh, this is like the best looking I've looked like numbers wise, technique wise, all of it at this time." And I'm feeling like I'm balancing the time well for considering a long season ahead. So, yeah, I can only think positive going into these next majors this year. I feel like this year's going to be pretty good.
Yeah. And what do you think will be the difference between last year and this year? I know you added a new spin from last year, some new techniques, but what's ultimately going to be the difference from 2024 Chase Jackson to 2025 Chase Jackson?
Um, Outside of technical things, I think 2025 Chase Jackson's a little fired up from from Paris. So I think I have like a little bit of a chip on my shoulder for sure to kind of like show that, you know, I kind of lost, but it's fine. I'm not gone, you know. I think that's a good thing though. I don't think it'll hold me back. I'm pretty ready. You get me kind of pumped.
I know. I'm like
I
I'm ready
know,
to
I'm
see
kind
what
of
you can
like,
do.
oh no.
I'm ready. Well, because you don't compete tomorrow, you compete Saturday, I believe, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So last time you threw at Ocean Breeze, you won though.
Yeah,
So that's gotta
yeah.
feel like a pretty. Do you like that ring at Ocean Breeze?
Yeah, it's a pretty good I like it. It's not wood, so anything it's not, that slippery, I'm down.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, anything that's, unlike Paris, where, that ring was completely drenched in the final for
Yeah.
both the men's and the women's
I
competition,
must
which,
say, watching the final, because obviously, like, and I stayed watching the final because I wanted to watch the Raven and Jada, obviously, because I went to support, but also, like, that's my friends out there, like, me and Sarah Mitten are close, me and Jess are close, like, we're all quite close. We're together all the time. Like, you travel the, like, world with these people. Like, who am I gonna go get coffee with? Like, I call them, So I wanted to support, and I must say, like, I didn't feel bad for that. Like I felt less bad for myself watching them try and throw in that rain for sure. But yeah, it was did not look fun.
no. And so Tokyo was not your first Olympics, was it? Or was it?
I didn't make the team. I choked there. So
Oh,
that was
okay.
the
Well,
first. I think that was another thing that happened too, is because after um the C word happened, I didn't make that team even though I was like having that breakout season going into 2020.
mm,
So when all that kind of happened and I got sick, it like killed Tokyo for me. So um that I think was like what kind of led to like me focusing so much on getting to the Olympics, is because after the Tokyo thing, it was just this fight to like get back there after so many years. And I think that's kind of what got me lost in the sauce of once I made it, everything else, like the mentality kind of like broke a little. Where I was like, okay, I did the thing. When it was like, no, girl, you could actually get a medal here. Like,
mhm.
focus. But I think I kind of lost it and just being like, I told you I could make it.
Yeah. Well, shoot, what a trio then it was that really made it to Paris. I mean, you had someone like Raven who they won a medal in 21. Then you have yourself, the American record holder. Then you have the collegiate record holder come with you guys to Paris. Like just how fun was that interaction with those women and just being able to be there? In the case of Ravens, they were already there. So you probably got to ask them their experience was like.
Yeah, I mean it's nice to have like people who are in it, but like Raven's a little more, and she's a competitor. So I don't know. I didn't really talk to her. I don't. Me and I was with Jada more because Raven's always like comp focused. And so me and Jada were very much more in like we're like scared, you know. Raven's like ready to go over there, and I was just
Yeah.
like terrified, you know. And Jada was just like, "I'm here," and it was it was like kind of weird. It was nice having them though, but everyone like goes about it so differently. So yeah, you know, I think one of the things that was my issue too is like I wasn't really at the Olympic training camp. What's it called? The Village.
Mhm.
And so I don't know, I couldn't stay there. It was like hot and sketchy and like I was I don't know what it was, but I think mentally I got fuzzy everywhere. If you
Yeah.
can't tell by how fuzzy I'm getting now. It's nice to have like your girls with you, but like you can't like I had like a lot of my friends there. It just you get lost in the sauce, man. I was so lost in the sauce. I had Veronica Fraley, like she was my roommate. She was great, but like I'm like I don't know. I think I don't even know. I'm so overwhelmed just talking about it now.
Hey, we can move on from
No,
Paris
it's
and look
fine.
ahead.
I'm just like thinking like I went to train a couple times when Raven was there, you know? And like I said, Raven's so comp focused, so like it's not like we sat
Mhm,
and chit chatted, you know. I
mhm.
wish maybe I dug a little deep to try and get some answers, you know, on how you stay so grounded because I was like floating around, I swear, the whole week that I was there. So I wish I could have asked Raven some more insight on that, but I didn't. And then Jada, I didn't really see much either. But like when we were at the comp, like having them there was nice. Like, you know, Raven was really sweet and supportive of me. Like came right over, hugged me, you know, kind of like supported me and was like, I got this. We'll go like we'll take care of the final, like, and I was like, thanks, like you guys got this, like go out there and do it, you know. So that was nice. Like they were all like they were both there for me when that happened too. So that was actually lovely. But yeah, it was such a mess. Now that I'm thinking about it more, I'm like, what a mess. Gosh.
You can blame me then, I guess, for bringing it up.
Yeah,
Then
now I'm like, now if I mess up on Saturday, I'm blaming you. I'm gonna be like, I had to think about freaking Paris again.
well, apologies in advance if that's the case. But I
Just
doubt
cut
that's going
that
to be
whole
the.
section out of this. Just edit
Yeah,
that out.
but but I doubt that's going to be the whole case on Saturday. So I mean, I like to think of this year as your revenge tour, as you know, this is the year of Chase Jackson proving to the people out there not only that she can bounce back from a piece of history where she felt like she could have made some history right there, but then even make more history. I mean, you already made history to start off
Yeah.
2025. So I think things are going in the right direction, and I hope you think the same thing too.
Yeah, totally. Like I said, I think this is the best like start I've ever had. So I think it's already built some confidence in me of like, you know, it's freaking February and I've already thrown American record. So like I feel pretty positive like going into the rest of the year like with that as like my wings, you know, like I'm
Mhm.
already feeling pretty confident. So I just gotta keep writing it.
Yeah, and you're kind of just taking that emotion and using it out in the competitive field, because I think I've watched you throw now for the last few years as I've covered the sport. You throw the best, I feel like, with emotion. And when people grunt, you know exactly that is going to be a really, really far throw. So I'm curious, just kind of see how Saturday goes. And again, as you said, knock on one, make it to China and complete, the medals. You haven't won a world indoor title. I mean, what would that
Mm-mm.
mean to you? I mean, you've already accomplished that outdoors, but like to do the thing in indoors would be an even bigger deal.
Yeah, I'm in my Krauser era where I just want to get one so I can not do indoors ever again. So that's my motivation. I'm like, I'm trying to be like Ryan, where I'm like, oh, I don't have one of those. Let me get one of those. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm excited though, because it's the other thing is too is like it I like the fact that it's not going to be easy. Like looking at me, Jess and Sarah and the girls Yemi and everyone that's like on the circuit right now. Like some girls haven't been with us at the meet, so I'm not sure where they're at, but like seeing them and being like, wow, this is going to be like I think this is going to be one of the best finals in over a decade for sure for an indoor world championship. I'm even probably just numbers wise, probably even better than most of the majors in the past few years. I think the numbers of this world indoors and even moving on, I think we're going to see some kind of crazy stuff. Like, but I love that for my sport. Like, I don't want it to be easy. So, seeing these girls throwing, I'm like, this ain't going to be easy, but like, I'm still going to go for it. Still going to do it.
With that regard, then, and you said you're a huge track and field fan, I'm sure you've been seeing what's been happening at the NCAA level with all these collegiate records going down. I mean,
Yeah.
just how important is it not only just for your particular event, but for women's track and field just to keep growing and in popularity and the world's only going to get faster, the world's only going to get stronger. It seems like everything is peak. It's like it's not. I'm not saying it's peaking right now, but like track and field's at an all-time high. I feel like right now.
Yeah. Like, when you just see the numbers, they're just all like going down, and I love that because it just shows that like I don't know, like we've always been just behind the men because we're late to the game, we weren't allowed to even be on the track, and then when we did, it was like it's kind of hard to get women coached right really anywhere, but you're seeing this growth I think because like being coached appropriately, like getting on the track, finally learning that like female athletes are their own like thing and we need to be treated as such and coached as such, and I think it's kind of turning into this thing where we're kind of turning out numbers and stuff's going on, and just track and field in general, just seeing all these records go and everything. I'm just proud of my people, man. We're doing some stuff and it's lovely. I just wish we were a bit of a more household sport, a little more
Yeah.
commonplace.
Yeah. So kind of then that leads to my next question, with the whole Grand Slam track and field thing. I mean, it's just track. It's no field. I mean, just
Yeah.
your first reactions to, I mean, I understand what Michael Johnson is trying to do and try to grow the sport, but I mean, it's called track and field for a reason.
Yeah, I think to me it's a cop out, like to try and drop everything to say that that's how you're going to build interest when I just don't think that's true. Like butts are in seats in Europe all the time for these meets. So like you can't tell me like that's just because of one event or whatever when I've been to just throws fests that are absolutely insane. But yeah, I don't know, I just don't appreciate it, and I feel like also, like I wish some of the track athletes don't wouldn't support it either. Like we're all family, like, and you're just kind of like it's kind of supporting like the abandonment of half of your sport, and we all need to like stick together in this. Like, I support all them as a fan and as like a teammate, and so you kind of want the same support back. So it is kind of a knife in the heart when you see some of them out there like sponsor like promoting it, and you're like, cool. No
So
problem,
has that,
man.
yeah, so has then that kind of led you, conversations between, like yourself, Maggie, Sarah, it's like, well, if they're not going to do something for us, like let's do something for ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've all kind of chatted about it, and there's certain meet directors I think that are definitely interested in the idea of it because number one, like one of the big things of Grand Slam breakfast, whatever track it's supposed to be. One of their things was like, oh, well, we can build this story. And I'm like, how do you build a story in 9 seconds? So, like, we were talking about how, like, we're out there for like an hour, right? Like, if we did sort of um, like a field event focused event, like, you could have a lot more fan interaction. Talk about building a story if you could actually like hang out, be around. Like, there's meets I go to where like there's a meet in Halle in Germany and it's like throwing and there's tons of people. Like they crowd around and you like I walk to my coach, I'm talking to my coach and people are there like right next to me, and I'm talking to them, and I'm sitting on the fence just talking to the fans and stuff. Like, I don't know. I just think there's a lot more story to be told. If you really want to use as something, like, we can show you how to tell a story, and it's going to be us hanging out with fans for an hour, and we'll show you how to have fun. I'm gonna throw beer into the crowd, get everyone lit.
I definitely would be down for that. I would be there 100% of the way if that was involved.
Yeah, it just sucks. Like, the way to like expand our sport isn't to abandon half of it. That's so number one. Like, it's just a cop out. Like if you can't figure out how to bring everyone, like, that's your own small mindedness. Like, I think we can all come together and figure out how to bring everyone along to getting this sport to where it needs to be, rather than, oh, we're gonna get rid of people to do it. Like, that's stupid. It's like not having Hammer in the Diamond League stupid.
Or Withrow
Yeah,
for
like,
World Championships.
yeah, weight throw, like, I don't know. I just think it's a cop out, the whole thing. And I stand by that.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not just because I'm talking to you, but like I genuinely love watching, shot put and hammer. Like those are of all the throws, probably those are probably my two favorite just to watch, just because, it really only takes one. I
Hmm.
mean, I guess you can throw discus and javelin there too, but like I mean, it really does take just one throw. And when that one throw happens, it really can change, the trajectory of an entire meet. And so I think, as to your point, like there's that storytelling. It's like, all right, I think I remember watching, I think it was like a shot put contest last year or something like that. There were like three lead changes
Hmm.
within the last final throw. I don't know if it was a college or a pro meet, but I'm just like, whoa, like that was amazing. And so to your point, like that's the storytelling right there.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember like the point in my life when I realized like I really love this sport was at like indoor NCAA championships in Arkansas when Raven went against the girl from LSU, and they went back and forth almost every single throw. They switched who was winning, and the whole entire Arkansas has the throws like out in the corner. No one's there. It was like backed all the way across the infield of people trying to watch these girls like go back and forth. Like, it was the best thing I've ever seen in my life. And it was back and forth, and it was oh, I can't remember her name, and that makes me really upset, but it was a girl from LSU. Oh, and it was the best competition I've ever seen. And it was like that moment where I was like, I want to throw that far, like, where I was like, I want to be like that. Like, I want to be. They were yelling. It was the best thing ever. And obviously, people are engaged because you can actually see things happening. Like, things are changing. It's the same as like when you watch a distance race. When it comes to the end and they all start passing each other, then people are on their feet, right? But until then, like, they're just kind of running, right? But like, if you can, like, pretty much every round things can be changing, things can be happening. Also with field, like, and it's not that either is better either, like, but with field you can do so many things as well. There's so much adaptability. Like, there can be distance marker for bonuses. You can do certain things with like high jump where you have like certain distances, or like, or certain heights, or this, and pole vault. Like, there's so many like things, but we just never do. Like, we could put fun in the sport. It's easy. It's like when they do, um, what is it? The miles where whoever's in last has to back off. Love.
Oh,
I
I'm
forget
trying.
what
I'm
it's
trying
called.
to think of that.
Elimination miles. Where if
Oh,
you're,
yes,
well,
yes.
you have to leave when if you're the last. Oh, love, bro. Like, that's the best thing. I love watching those because like things are happening now. I know the runners hate them though because they're like, that sucks, and I'm like, yeah, but it's
Hey, I'm
so
I'm
fun to
sure you.
watch.
Hey, I'm sure you hate the throwers relay
Right. Yeah, right. But I'm telling you,
because
there's so many things.
it all circles back to the track at some point, whether you
Yeah.
like it or not.
Yeah. But yeah, there's so many things we can do, and I just don't think it involves cutting away so many people's lives. Like, just like, forget your livelihood. Like, just give them more money. Great. Great.
Well, again, as I said before, and I'll continue to say it, your personality is really what brings people to this sport, and just being able to inspire the next generation, and I mean, the other person I think of is Tara. Like Tara puts on a show out there every single time. I mean, you could be that same exact person with your makeup and all your tattoos. I mean, I don't see how you could not be that person in the shot put world, Chase.
To have any kind of track and field event without Tara is a crime to humanity. Like that's another thing where I'm like, talk about someone who like actually puts our sport in front of like people rather than like you go to a meet, you get your money, you leave, right? Like her and Hunter like have put our sport on the map as well in a different way of just making it like relatable as well, like showing who we are. Like I love Tara. Watching her compete, all of it. I'm just like building the sport. That's how you build the sport, not abandoning people. We bring the sport to people. That's what we need to do. But we take it to you. We'll put it in your face, you know? Look how fun and funny we are and cute. You know, like this is the best.
Well, I think, just as I'm wrapping this up, I've got an emotional person fired up for not only, this weekend, but I think for the rest of 2025. And I think you are off to a great start. As I said, an American record 2024 meters for that shot put throw in Poland, and now an opportunity to qualify for another world team. So, Chase, it's a pleasure to catch up with you. And I know, like, as you said, like, there were some emotions during this interview. There were some highs, some lows, but I mean, like, I think that's what makes a great interview. And I hope you enjoyed the conversation that we had today because
Yeah,
I
totally.
think I think a lot of people will. And I'm excited to see what you do on this Saturday and you kind of just carrying forward in 2025. Again, anybody tune into US Indoors, it is Friday and Saturday or Saturday, Sunday, I should say, in Staten Island. And then of course Sunday it's the NBC broadcast. But somebody out there will be seeing you throw on Saturday,
Yeah.
and hopefully it is streamed somewhere. So
Yeah.
again, Chase, really appreciate your time. Wish you nothing but the best on Saturday and then moving forward in 2025.